Welcome to Cerebral Women in Paris Art Talks podcast. I'm Phyllis Hollis, your host. Years ago, after hearing an artist say art will save us, my intellectual curiosity was sparked, and I began a journey to understand exactly how. Through conversations with visual artists and the professionals who support them, I explore how art helps us see our history, our culture, our lives, and the experience of others in ways no other medium can. Capturing these voices is essential. They remind us of the power of art and the importance of noticing life's simple beauty. And now, here in Paris, the city that has long welcomed the daring, the dreamers, and the defiant, I continue these conversations where art breathes, questions, and reminds us that creation itself is an act of liberation. Welcome and enjoy Cerebral Women in Paris. This episode features Gustavo Nazareno, a Brazilian artist whose practice explores portraiture, spirituality, mythology, and Afro-Brazilian cultural traditions. Through painting and drawing, he investigates themes related to the African diaspora. Gustavo has presented solo and group exhibitions globally at institutions and galleries including in Sao Paulo, London, Miami, Milan, Tunis, Rio de Janeiro, to name a few. His works are also included in various collections globally. The book, Bara, featuring charcoal drawings by Gustavo and published by Arte, won first place in the graphic design category at the 66th Jabuti Prize in November of 2024. The design was led by Philippe Chaudin. Please visit cerebralwomen.com for his expanded bio and details about his expeditions and collections. Enjoy this episode featuring Gustavo Nazareno. Gustavo, welcome to Cerebral Women in Paris. I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your practice.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here with you, Phyllis. I'm really glad to be part of this wonderful podcast.
Thank you. Let's start with, how do you define your practice?
Well, I'm a painter, first of all. I am a very curious person. I am a student and very, very much of an introvert. Those things combined created my whole practice. The curiosity, the discoveries, and my will of making images and communicating through beauty. So I think this is literally what comes to my mind when I have to understand what I do.
Communicating through beauty. Your work and that sentence, they overlap unbelievably. So, what is the role of drawing in your work?
Drawing, it's interesting because when I was younger, again, talking about introversion, I really had a social life or grew up with friends, and drawing became this powerful tool for me to spend time alone and to develop my own world, tell stories and creating cartoons that could take my mind out of the world that I was living in and creating another dimension that I could exist. So drawing still does that for me. It's my first lap towards the painting, towards the final result. And sometimes it ends on the drawing. But drawing has this powerful magic of transforming my ideas, my ambitions, my wills into something tangible.
When do you know a work is finished?
I have lots of processes that tells me when to stop, because I know how unorganized my mind can be sometimes. So I know how I can go on and on and on. And the way that I do with imperfection, and having a schedule, kind of like not literally, but having a stories, having places where I can rely on to understand when to stop. Like, oh, okay, I write a story, do the sketches, do the studies, do the drafts that I'm going to put in the painting. I develop the background, and then I have the final study for the painting. And I see the painting, and when I look at it, I'm like, okay, I look at the studies and I'm like, it's done. So I try to create a process that it can be as practical as it can for me to know when to stop, because I don't like to go days and days on a painting. I like to be very direct. I like to, if I'm going to start this, I'm going to finish this. I'm not going to live in the middle. And dealing with, well, okay, this is not what I intended to do. I have to, which is my biggest therapy. I take away the painting in front of me, let it live its own story, and then I look after a month or something. And this is usually when I know it's like I see what I intended, and okay, it's there. So it's very organized. I try to organize my creativity as much as I can, because otherwise it would go nuts and spend days and days and days editing a painting and never stop. I would be on my first painting still.
How has your technique changed over the years?
It's interesting because I was talking actually to a geneticist that was explaining to me a role of consciousness. He was telling me that your body's made of cells, and those cells, it regenerates over the years. And basically you have a new body in 10 to 10 years, like kind of like that. But the consciousness kind of stays the same, and it's usually what gives you. And I applied that to the technique because it changed over the years. I don't have the same challenges as I had in 2018 when I started painting, and I trained with my eyes, basically. I created, I think, over my childhood and the teenage years, my will of painting was so big, and I didn't have access to tools or anything, that I had to find how to learn how to paint with my eyes. So when I finally had the chance to paint, I painted like the images that I was inspired by, which were mostly Renaissance paintings and some portraiture by Irving Penn or Stephen Mazel, or photographers there, fashion photographers that I admired, combined with Renaissance artists. So, and over the years, as I was getting new inspiration and traveling the world with my eyes and my heart, I could see the development of everything, but somehow it kept the same consciousness. So it changed a lot, but it's still the same. Yeah, I think that this is a philosophical way of putting it, but I think it makes sense in somehow that my painting still relies on the same rules that I applied when I was creating and I started painting.
Interesting. And what materials do you use?
Materials. It starts with the pen and it goes to, I don't know, the most dangerous kind of like inflammable things. But I use mostly oil painting and charcoal. Those are concisely what I use for painting and drawing.
Do you listen to music while you're working?
I listen to a lot of music while I'm working. Sometimes I like to talk a lot by myself, and I can go for hours talking by myself. So there's days that I just want to discuss things with myself. Like I would say a crazy person, but I'm not crazy. I think that's perfectly normal. I am going to adapt that into a normal way of being creative, but I can go from Miles Davis to like Ariana Grande in the blink of an eye. But I mostly like to listen to music without lyrics. So Miles Davis is usually my companion during a good painting session, good painting afternoon. I'm going to listen to Love Subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to create a mood when I'm painting. So lots of Sade. I love Sade. Yeah, those are usually my kings and queens for my playlist.
I know you said your practice has stayed the same and changed at the same time. Are there concepts or are there life experiences that are reflected in your body of work?
That is a very interesting question because I think the life experiences, I'm going to say I've been through childhood and adolescence that was very much, that was very complicated in terms of socially. Being a black man and being overweight in a public school was awful, and especially being a gay man inside of those places. And I went through lots of bullying, and which led me to an introversion. And this introversion, it wasn't bad because every single thing I know today is because I had time. And it's not that I'm romanticizing the bullying. Oh my God, I'm not. But it was because I made time to develop interests. I think that doesn't happen to everybody because, I mean, those are very hard things to go through when you're developing yourself. But I could see myself through the eyes of lots of other things from the past, from the present, and from the future. Putting myself into online forums that I could discuss fashion, that I could discuss architecture, that I could discuss music, making online friends, some people that I still know to this day, and developing myself intellectually in a way that was so powerful that I still use that. And I own my life now to that young Gustavo that had all those life experiences and survived through art, through creativity, through creating those worlds to put myself where I am today. So now that I have other priorities in life, I developed a social life, I transformed my life, and I see that my interest kind of shifted to other parts of my life, like I taking care of my health, taking care of my mental health, taking care of a lot of things. But the basis of those things were life experiences that I had through those years. So I think that is basically what shaped me as an artist, and it still makes me survive.
Were you ever influenced by other artists?
Lots. I had a lot of godfathers and godmothers. I mean, Origin Pen was and still is my biggest idol. Ray Kawakubo from Comme des Garçons. But Ray Kawakubo's creations were everything to me. Alexander McQueen, John Galliano, and I had the Renaissance artists that shaped my view, the Afro-Brazilian artists that shaped the Afro-Brazilian Baroque in a way that I really wanted to communicate towards that. So I had lots of artists that shaped my view of pursuing beauty in the world. So lots of them.
Share with us, what are you really excited about right now?
That has to be around the art world or my life.
Whatever you want to share. It's summertime.
I am excited for finally having the will of decorating my bedroom. It sounds silly, but I bought some new blankets. I'm very excited. I sound so basic right now, but
No.
I like that now I am at a point in my life that I'm taking care of my house. I'm looking for the details, like the blankets, the plates, and the cups, and all of those little things. And this is new. This is a new perspective of living for me. I never cared about those things, but now I am very excited to get my house in the way that I always wanted. And this is like my personal life. But I I'm very excited for 2027 also. There's lots of good things that are going to happen next year.
And you just had an outstanding exhibition close in Paris. So it must be nice to just exhale.
Yeah, I mean, I am on I didn't want it to be on a break, but sometimes I have to force myself to create some emptiness in my mind so I can start new things. It sounds cliche, but it's very true. You can jump into one thing to the other. And in this blank space, I'm giving, I think, my mind wanted to fill with some stuff that I never paid attention before. So this is quite exciting. The exhibition was very overwhelming and I was very happy, feeling successful. So I'm now living on the achievements on that. So it's exciting. I wish that for every artist in the world.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful work. How do you keep learning?
Through curiosity and through being very secure. And I think I like to, and I'm going to explain that. I like to feel everything. I think every feeling somehow has a certain purpose. And sometimes my insecurity of not knowing enough or not knowing much puts me to learn incredible new things. And I think this is an interesting and weird way of putting out how I keep myself learning, but it's towards that, not thinking I know enough and putting myself in my place. And like, oh, I want to know more. So as I'm saying, it's this blank space that I just created in my life to have myself some time. It's a place that is very powerful to learn new things. So now is a moment where I'm chasing that. I'm living towards that.
I love that. Do you feel Black art can be defined?
That is a very interesting question. I don't think Black art can be defined by a single aesthetic, medium, or subject. What connects it in my view, it's not a visual language, but like a kind of like a constellation of experiences, stories, perspectives. I mean, there are Black artists working with abstraction, conceptual art, portraiture, performance, installation, and everything in between. And yeah, I mean, defining Black art, if we try that very narrowly, we risk limiting the very diversity that makes it so powerful. So I don't think so.
I agree with you 100%. When do the titles of the work enter the creative process?
Usually they're not part of the work. They're kind of like a poetry with the work, which is interesting because a lot of people ask me, oh, why this title connects with the painting? And I'm like, it doesn't. I created a poetry for this painting. It's like a way of paying homage to a painting more than defining it, which I used to have a very hard time putting a title in a painting. Too, I was like, for me, everything would be untitled because sometimes there's codes of symbolisms that are really, that can define the painting better than a title. And also I want to leave it as open for interpretation as possible. But somehow I developed this way of creating a poetry for the title that can be associated with the painting, but can go together, not representing it.
If you weren't a visual artist, what other career path do you think you would have chosen?
That is hard because I think that is no. There is other things I can do. I could be a good personal trainer. I could be, I mean, I'm going to sound very arrogant, but I think I could be a lot of things if I put like enough effort into them. I could be a great chef. I can do a lot of things. Like I have lots of other interests than art. So sometimes I like to put myself like, oh, if this career don't work, what I'm going to do? And then I create a whole plan in my head of like how I'm going to become a successful chef. Yeah, I think it could be a lot of things. I could be a good chef. I would be a great chef. Or a good nutritionist. I could be good dealing with bodies and food. It would be something I would do.
Yeah, I think I could appreciate that myself. When you're creating, do you think about who your audience is?
You know, I'm developing a show, I have this because I don't paint for myself, and I really don't. It starts with myself, but I mean, a lot of artists would kill me for saying that, but I'm painting for people to love it, to travel through it, to embrace it. I want that. This is part of my goal. Because some people say you shouldn't impress people or try to impress people. I want to impress people. That's part of the point. I mean, I was impressed by lots of things. I mean, the whole point of the paintings that I've learned to appreciate are throughout learning things from them, or just by being beautiful, just so you can have like a moment of contemplation. So, but it starts with myself. Thank God the things that I love are what makes my paintings what they are. But I do this. I visualize a personality that is totally different from mine. For example, I imagine this woman that had just walked into a museum or a gallery, and she's like a professor. She's like 45 years old, and she has this hair, she has this body, she has this, and I'm painting for that woman. Yeah, and she's not into art, but somehow she loved the painting. So I'd like to visualize like a person, and I'll paint for that person. And I sometimes can see myself through those eyes that I just created and like criticize my own work based on that. So yeah, I think that's some techniques I do for connecting with an audience, trying to.
I'm just curious, that thought process. So you're envisioning someone viewing your work, right?
Yes.
So is there a specific phase within creating a painting that this takes place, or does it vary?
It varies a lot because I paint for myself sometimes because it has to start for myself. I can think about pleasing people all the time, but somehow it becomes selective. Somehow I think there is some codes that I really want people to pursue, and there's a certain magic, I think, on painting, on a work of art that can transport you to somewhere inside of my mind. So I try to get this person eye towards the dress or towards the look, towards the sky on the background, towards something I want to communicate for that person. So it depends. Sometimes I just want, there's an example. There was a painting I was doing the other day. I was painting for myself, and then I was like, maybe this painting can use it for something, for a start of series. And I was like, this need a background. Because at first it was going to be just a dress. And then I was like, okay, but to contextualize for someone, I need the background. So you see, it's usually kind of like this person appears in the middle of the process of like, okay, but for people to understand this painting, clearly it needs a background, or to be curious about what it means, this dress or this headpiece. It needs a background. It needs to belong in a certain place. It can't be just like a blank background. It needs to be put in a space, the figure. So it depends.
And at what point do you decide on your choice of color?
When I started writing, I define the color of the sky, the color of the dress, the way the figure is looking at me, how the green of the dress was shining through the candles. So I was looking to that beautiful red, and it was almost hurting my eyes. And there's a poetry behind it that can guide me towards the shade of the red that is going to burn my eyes, or the green that sparkled when the light of the candle hit the dress. So there's kind of like this code that can guide me towards this process.
Lovely. Wow. I've enjoyed our conversation very much. And actually, this is the last question. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. What do you feel is the purpose of art?
I don't think art has a single purpose. For me, its greatest strength is that it can transform the way that we perceive the world and ourselves. I mean, beauty has always been my way of understanding life, beyond pleasure. It's like a tool for reflection, and a painting can make you pause, question your assumptions, remember something you had forgotten, or like simply experience a moment of peace. I mean, my own work isn't trying to give any answers. It's like an invitation to look more carefully or to become seduced by beauty, symbolism, mystery.
Sure.
I mean, if someone leaves one of my paintings seeing the world or themselves or a little differently, then the work has fulfilled its purpose.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking that. That is a really hard question. I'm sweating. My shoulders are sweating. I never get a sweat on my shoulders.
Yeah, it's a deep question, and everyone has a different answer, of course, right?
Yes, I mean, I'm curious to hear yours. If I could ask you back, what do you feel is the purpose of art, Phyllis?
To give us hope and to help us continue to see the beauty in the world that artists have shared with us through their talent, their imagination, their passion.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Art will save us.
They will give us a new world to live, a moment of peace.
Yes. And thank God we have artists, because we need you guys. We need you to do the work.
We are grateful that we have people like you.
Thank you. This has been great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for giving me the space to talk about my art and to share with the world a little bit of my universe. And keep doing that. We need that as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is art.
Yes, this is art. Take care.
Take care, my dear.
Thank you for listening to Cerebral Women Art Talks podcast. For additional content, please visit cerebralwomen.com and be sure to follow Cerebral Women on Instagram.